So I put my hand on the pad and I just grab it and go, ugh, ugh. Or you put like a bunch of plates on and you're like, ugh, I'm like repping a bunch of weights, I'm so big. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So today we are going to continue the best exercise series. So we are going to talk about one of my favorite exercise groups because I'm really good at it. I have a good back, but I hate actually doing back, which is kind of funny. So let's actually just dive right into it. Again, we're going to start. Number 1 is going to be the best, and number 3 is going to be the third best. So what are the best exercises to get a big, wide, and thick back? Number 1, the best back exercise that you could possibly do to look like freaking Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath, is lat pull downs. So any form of grabbing anything from up here and pulling it down, like just pulling it down. That's all you want to do. So pull-ups also work, but pull-ups are hard to overload on. A lot of people can't do pull-ups sufficiently. And if you have injuries, you can't really do it very well. So I used to be really good at pull-ups. I think on average I do about 12 to 15 pull-ups every time I do it. Now I can do 1 or 2, and then my tendonitis is burning. I haven't tried doing a pull-up in almost a year because the pain I get from it, it just doesn't work out well. But doing pull-downs, I don't have any pain, and I can overload it. I could do my body weight in pull-downs and be fine. So I want to explain, how should you do a lat pull down? There is so many mistakes when doing it. Alright, we are going to give you the most scientific and easiest way to understand this. Your arms go straight up. This is shoulder width. Your arms are going to go slightly out, about 1.5 times shoulder width. So your arm should be like this. And then you're going to grab the bar and you're going to give your chest a little slight tilt upward, and you're not going to imagine using your arms to pull the bar down. Imagine your elbows pulling down to your back. I mean, just imagine that motion of pulling down to your back with your elbows. That's what your cue should be. Not your arms or your hands pulling the weight. Your elbows and your back pulling the weight. You will feel your back contract and your lats contract a lot better if you do it that way. Now, the reason you do 1.5 times is because it's the best grip for strength and getting the overall muscle recruitment for it. So if you do too much of a close grip, it's just going to be a little bit too hindrance, and if you go too far out, you're going to be way too weak and it's not going to help you as much. 1.5 is perfect. Now, what grip should you do? There's 3 ways to do it: pronated, neutral, supinated. I would recommend either doing a pronated or a neutral grip. I mix between the two depending on how I feel. They're both very well. The only one I don't recommend is a supinated, because supinated is just going to be a lot of bicep pulling and it's not very helpful. So if you're doing either neutral or pronated grip, you can kind of do this cue as well. So as I was saying, your chest kind of stays up. So you're going to start like this and you're going to lift your chest up and your elbows back. A way to think about this is, if you guys are a bodybuilder, you are into bodybuilding posing, your arms are going to start up here, and when you come to do a back double bicep, you kind of put your arms back to feel your lats. If you ever see us do this, I'll probably put a video of it. We'll do like this. I'll put my arms up and I'll squeeze my back to feel it, and then I come out for the front double or back double. So if you're doing that motion of grabbing the bar and coming down with your elbows to feel your back flex, that's really good cue for it. Number 2. So the number 2 best exercise for building a better back is going to be a chest supported rowing movement. Hundreds that you could do. Probably not hundreds, but there's a lot. So you could do a chest supported T-bar row, a chest supported cable row. You could do honestly chest supported dumbbell rows. Anything where your chest is supported and you can row. I personally like we have a hammer strength iso row, so it's one of those hammer strength machines that has all the different handles. I'll show a video of it right now. All those different handles, you can kind of grab at any grip you want. You could do supinated, wide, pronated, whatever. and it's chest supported. So you're supposed to kind of keep your chest dug into it so you can just focus on getting your back flexed. A lot of people, when they do chest like rowing movements, they lean back because the weight's either too heavy or they don't know what they're doing. So if you are doing a chest supported movement, you can focus on pushing your chest into the pad and then pulling the weight back. So it's all back movement. I'm telling you, if you do it that way versus what you'll see the gym bros do, where they'll have their hands on the pad. And I'm going to say this because I used to do this a lot, and the reason why my back hasn't really developed as well as when I stopped doing it the right way, obviously. So I put my hand on the pad and I just grab it and go, ugh, ugh. Or you put like a bunch of plates on and you're like, ugh, I'm like repping a bunch of weights, I'm so big. It's like you're doing so much body movement, there's so much body English and just throwing that around when your chest should be into the pad and you should just be pulling it and feeling your back contract and get that deep connection. That's why I've lowered the weights and I've gone slower on my movement so I could feel my chest against it and I just pull it back so you get that nice deep flex. Doing a row is going to be really good, especially if you do it the right way, getting that deep flex in your back, getting that thickness that you need in your back. It's going to hit your traps, your rhomboids, your lats. It's just helping you get such a nicer, thicker back. Just remember, anything chest supported. I'm sure I've seen hundreds of different machines that are chest supported. Whatever you prefer, just do it that way. Now the grip. How do you want to hold it? Personally, I go, again, pronated sometimes, and I'll go neutral other times. Typically, if I did pronated for the lat pull down, I'll go neutral for the row. And then vice versa. So if I go neutral for the pull down, I'll go pronated for the row. It's just kind of hitting from a different angle sometimes, whatever I prefer that day. Doesn't really make a difference entirely, but it's just more personal preference. Number 3. This is kind of a weird one. I'm going to give you 2 because I believe these 2 are actually really good back exercises. It just depends on which one you prefer. And that is going to be a deadlift or a rack pull. So everyone knows how to deadlift. Well, actually, not everyone knows how to deadlift, but everyone knows what a deadlift is. You have the bar dead weighted on the ground and you just pick it up. Rack pulls is kind of the same thing. It's the top end, about the last 2/3 of a deadlift. I do that quite often where I'll be in a rack. You just grab the bar, usually at knee level. I do it depending on the rack. Some racks are better because they can get lower, some can't get as low. So it's about knee level and you'll just pull it up, chest up. Same thing with you do the deadlift. You just, chest up at the end and get that full flex in your back. Either one of these are good and they are just amazing at doing full back development, just that nice thickness in your back that you really need. I personally think that rack pulls are a little bit better if you're trying to hit that Christmas tree lower back, and I feel like deadlifts are better if you're trying to get the traps in your upper back in it more. I do both. So I have 2 different back days currently. I have a back thickness day, which is where I do rack pulls. And then I have a back and hamstring day, which is where I'll start with deadlifting. So either or are going to be very good to get your back thickness and that, overall back development in. So that's going to wrap up this video, guys. Those are my 3 exercises that I recommend you guys to do if you want to get a good back. I was someone who did not have a good back for the longest time. I could not even lat spread because my lats were like this big. And now I've gone to having my back be one of my best body parts. So it's just trial and error and finding out which is more comfortable for you, which works best for you, and taking time with the weights. Back is such a hard muscle group for people to have. Like if you see someone who has a fully developed body, there's a good chance they don't have a good back because just hitting back, you can't see it, so it's very hard to get that connection. Just remember what I was saying. When you're doing pull downs, you think about your elbows coming down to your lats, pulling with your elbows. When you're doing rowing, if you chest supported, have your chest dug into the pad and you're just pulling back. Again, you're pulling with your elbows back, but your chest has to be on the pad so you can get all of your back muscle recruitment. And then the deadlift, there's a lot of technique and things to talk about with the deadlift. All you need to know is that you're going to have your feet firmly placed on the ground, about shoulder width, grab the bar slightly outside of your knees, and you are going to pull the slack out of the bar, which means kind of engaging your back, flexing your whole back, making sure your back is nice, sharp, and tight. You want your hips not completely low, but not completely high. You want them at like a nice medium level, and then you are just going to pull up at the same time. You want, ideally, a perfect deadlift would be that your legs and your back move up at the same time. I'm not the best at deadlifting, so I typically get my back and legs moving at the same time, but my legs move faster than my back, and I finish with my back. Not the end of the world, but that's kind of why I prefer doing rack pulls, because rack pulls I could just focus about having the bar on the rack, engaging my back, pulling the slack out of the bar, and then just coming up and coming back down. So that's going to wrap up this video, guys. I will see you guys in the next video. And remember, if you are looking for a coach, I am coaching people. If you are looking for someone to help you get stronger, get bigger, prepare for bodybuilding, do whatever you need just to look better for something, reach out to me. I am coaching. Reach out to me on Instagram, my DMs, and we can talk about pricing and what your goals are. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you missed the last video in this series, it's going to be at the end. Don't forget to watch it because we want to all get big and jacked. And remember, guys, stay massive.
Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on.